Hey everyone, and welcome back to GregTech New Horizons. I just crafted the last part of the machine I want to build. Well, it's not actually a machine, it's more like a contraption that is going to go right here in a straight line upwards. We're going to have... I'm not too sure how we're going to build it. We're definitely going to have the basic bending machine right here, I'm guessing. That should be good. Then we're going to have a compressor above that. Above the compressor, we're going to have a furnace. And above the furnace, do I have some blocks? Yes, I do. We're going to have an alloy smelter. And then I'm going to quickly hook that up with some energy, while you can guess what we're going to be doing right here. The power is now going. What we still need is our input item. And we also need some things that we need to put in the machines. Like here we need a nugget mold, I thought it was a cast before, and in the basic bending machine the programmed circuit with the configuration 1. And if we put an iron up here, it should turn into nuggets. Then those nuggets should be auto exported into the electric furnace. Then from there they should be turned into wrought iron nuggets that go right here and into the compressor. The compressor will compress them into wrought iron ingots and export them into the basic bending machine, which will finally turn them into wrought iron plates. And it's a one-to-one conversion, so if we put a stack of iron in here, we get a stack of wrought iron plates. This is consuming our oil power, but we'll probably later on hook it up to the creosote, since this is not constantly going to be running. It's more of a thing that we just put in some items and then at some point we get our wrought iron. What we still need to do is hook up an input chest up there and a output chest down here. Quick progress update on both of those things. We are out of electric motors, and that happens quite often. But the recipe is rather easy to craft, so I just do it in the background. But I thought just to inform you, we still don't have a polarizer, so I'm using redstone for that, which is really stupid. But I have so many other things to do that I'm currently not really interested in hooking it up. I might do it in a little bit, maybe even in one of these machine rigs as we just set up for the wrought iron. And I also know, or I rather was informed, that you could do... Oh, maybe I should take care of this right now. I have a barrel, that's actually for the input, but I'm just going to have it here for now. I know that you can do that in the arc furnace, but the arc furnace requires oxygen. And currently we don't really have a easy way or a centralized oxygen supply that doesn't fill up as easily as this does. Later on we might use this oxygen right here not to fuel the blast furnaces, but to fuel our wrought iron supply. However, we would need a bigger tank for that than just this red one over here. Before I entirely run out of oil, I decided to go over to the oil well that I have set up and just stay here for a little bit. When I leave this area, I have to make sure though that this tank is filled up and that the pump still has oil in it. Otherwise, for whatever reason, I have to tear down the pump and put it at least one block off where it currently is, so it doesn't have to be, or it can't be, in the same spot, which is really weird. I filled up all of the cans I brought. I'm currently very low on the tin cans, but now I'm just waiting for the fluid canner, the tank, and the oil pump to fill back up so that I can leave and then come back to fill up the cans a few more times. Oh man, something unlocked in the MVH, and by something I mean a lot unlocked. We have Ender over here which we could start. We have some logistics pipes up here, but what I'm interested in is right down here, which is the biofuels and getting biodiesel. There are seemingly a bunch of different ways. For all ways you need seed oil though, as well as the sodium hydroxide. And seed oil you get from seeds, or if you have bees set up, from the nut trees. But what we also need is methanol or ethanol, and I'm not too sure what's the best way of getting those two. And once I figure that out, I think we should switch our power to biodiesel, since I read a little bit on the wiki and it appears that on biodiesel you can run MV and HV still, and then on EV you switch to nuclear. At least that's what I read. However, before we jump head over heels into the new quests, how about we complete our current quests, because the MV machines are going to be expensive, and probably everything that we're going to be doing is going to be expensive, so I think it's a good idea to set up this machine rig over here first, and focus on that, getting some basic resources going, as well as the oil, just relying on that a little bit longer. I just got around 570 buckets of oil, I believe. That will last us for at least a little bit, and with those blast furnaces running, we get steel as well as the arsenic trioxide, which will take a little bit more time to process. As you can see, we have a few more dusts right here, probably just one, and then we have 3 more stacks that are waiting to be processed. That might take a little bit of time, and then we have dual blast furnaces for our steel production again. However, currently we have enough steel. So let's see what we can set up over here next, what we really need as well. I have an idea what to set up next, and we need 3 combustion generators for it and all of these machines. It's going to be for vacuum tubes, and vacuum tubes are somewhat difficult to craft. Do I have a circuit in my inventory? No, I do not, but they basically require a glass tube, which needs the alloy smelter that we have over here. They require a steel rod, which is the reason why you need a lathe. They require a fluid that is red alloy fluid. They require, what else do they require? A copper wire, and then all that together in an assembling machine. So all of these we need, and those need a lot of power, which is the reason why I got 3 combustion generators over here as well. After fumbling around with the arrangement of these machines a little bit, I ended up with this arrangement right here. It might not look very good, but here's what I thought. We have the assembling machine, which gets power from the side and gets its fluid from the back with this fluid extractor. That gets its items from the top and its energy from the basic combustion generator. Then we have a spot right here where we're going to put translocators, as those are available through our quests, and I believe you can assert or assign a certain amount of items that can be stock kept in the assembling machine. So I can say in the translocator, okay, only keep 2 items in the assembling machine, and they should all fit in this one block. We should be able to extract items from all these 3 machines and keep a certain stock in the assembling machine, at least if it works like I think it does. And then we have the alloy smelter, the basic wire mill, and the lathe, which provide the 3 components for the basic assembling machine to make the vacuum tubes. So now it just needs a few fluids. I need to also configure these correctly and make some translocators as well. Oh, I have some good news. That was not the good news. Please work. What? It just worked. If I clicked maybe, there we go. And then all 3 funnel into this one. Now I just hope that I can keep a certain stock. Maybe I need diamond nugget for that. Maybe that will do it. And then I can say, okay, I would like to have... Yes, perfect. What am I doing? Oh, here we go. I can click and then I can get more or less. Okay, now I just want less. I think I figured it out. It's a combination of left and right clicks combined with shift or not. Okay, let me figure this out and get a few inputs going. Maybe I also hooked up the power right here. It's very messy. Maybe have a direct connection to the pipe right here. Maybe just to this spot. For now, this will work though, and I'll see how good it works. Got all of the materials together that we need and should be able to input right here. If I do it correctly, that is. We should see everything working great. Chances of that happening are around 20%, I would say. So glass goes over there, since that goes into the alloy smelter. Is it being extracted? That's the first thing. Pretty sure it will in a little bit. So that should be the wire mill. So we want the copper in there. And then this is the lathe with the steel dust. Which, by the way, with the steel dust is not being extracted currently, but we can add that with our setup. And then back there, we want the red alloy ingots. There we go. And that should provide the liquids. So let's go down here and see how it's doing so far. It's not pumping out all of the items. Whoopsie daisy. Falling down. So we have 1 glass tube. That's good. 2 wires. That's also nice to have. And what else are we lacking? The lathe. And that should be... There should be 1 already in there. Oh, it already processed. That is amazing. Partially amazing because currently it's overfilling everything. So let's quickly fix that by getting a rod. I think we should have 1 over here. Exactly 1. Amazing. So let's go back here and configure this correctly. Otherwise we'll fill up seemingly on the wires first. So we need 1. And we want 1 of the. Okay, 2. Let's just keep 2. No, wrong click. Left click to increment, right click to not increment. Yes. Item output, and this should not be extracting any more cables. Perfect. But this should be, and this should be as well. So we should get some more glass tubes in here. Yes, let's just stuff the 2 ones we have in there. And then the rest of the glass tubes should stay in the basic alloy smelter and not be extracted into the basic assembling machine. That appears to be the case. So this is completely automatic now, which is really amazing since we already have 6 of them. Decided to stock up these machines a little bit, and by a little bit I mean quite a lot. We have 3 more stacks steel, 3 more stacks of the glass, and I put in 1 more stack of copper, so that should yield, I believe, 4 stacks of these vacuum tubes, which should be good enough for now. I'm also cooking up a little bit more red alloy, which we might want to automate next up, but that will go in there. Currently we have more than enough, as crafting 1 of these actually just costs, I believe, 18 liters, and we have 3,500 in there, so that should not become an issue too soon. But as I said, I've been crafting over here. Let's see how many. Quite a lot. Let's just take all of that and keep a stack on storage. And I believe we need 3 more redstone in order to continue the craft over here, as I have 48 more copper in. So let's do that and get in the red alloy ingots. The next part we want to automate is the resistors as well as the circuit boards, and those 2 both require a assembling machine the way I want to do it, or an assembler, how it's called right here, and some refined glue. We're just going to buy the refined glue as it's really cheap and we have a lot of coins, so we're going to set it up in that way. We're going to have an assembler, let's say here and here, and then we're going to have a fluid canner that I have left over in the center to get the glue out of the glue cans, and we're just going to put in the glue cans right here, and then both of the materials that we need. I'm not too sure what those materials are, but I believe there are multiple for both. Yes, it's wood planks and copper foil for that one, so we're going to input wood and copper probably, and the resistors are something similar. I think also, no, it's charcoal and fine copper wire as well as fine copper wire. Normal copper wire over here. I'll set that up and maybe move the machines a little bit and then craft a lot more machines actually. Well, on second thought, it might actually be a lot smarter to have them right in this space instead of right here, since I'm not going to automate every single component, since we're going to need way too many machines, I think. And we can process the materials that we need for the copper rather easily. It's mainly just copper put into a wire mill, and we can do that just manually, so this shouldn't be an issue. Just going to have some barrels around it then, and the input, or rather the output, is going to be right here and right there in these 2 spaces. I accidentally didn't record properly, so we have a lot of progress done right here. I basically moved the setup from over here back to here. You can see the setup is right here with the basic fluid canner, the assembling machine, the other assembling machine, and I just hooked up some wire mills down here for the resistor production, and a macerator as well as a compressor to get these wooden planks, and 2 basic bending machines to get the other stuff for the coated circuit board. And now we can produce these automatically and the resistors automatically, which is really nice to have. Also prettied it up a little bit with some glass and filled in the spots, lit it up a little bit, and this is the look that we have right now. We have a few problems though. First of all, it's very expensive to build that many machines. In particular, the combustion generators are very expensive. And for that reason, I'm kind of running out of steel. Not really running out, I have 400 left, but that was at 500, and we're only producing on one of the electric blast furnaces since the other is still occupied with the cobaltite. However, that is getting to an end, which is nice to see, which means we probably have more arsenic trioxide dust than we will ever need. And by ever, I mean for the next episode, probably. We're also running very low on oil. This is consuming a lot of oil since I hooked everything over there up to my oil production. It's really not that great. Excuse that little bit of background noise, that was a notification. But let's concentrate on our circuits again. We need two more parts. Firstly, the red alloy cables, and secondly, the steel item casing. We're not going to automate the steel item casing, as it's literally just steel plates and a hammer. We can craft that very easily. We're probably going to automate the red alloy wire and then put it into our wire insulator, which is kind of running out of sulfur, as well as the raw rubber. As you can see right here, we only have 38 sulfur and 4 raw rubber, and it's not even filled up entirely. So I can get more raw rubber, that's not the issue. We have a lot of rubber plants all around, but the sulfur is going to be a little bit more difficult. Built up the red alloy production right here. It's basically just an alloy smelter and a wire mill that will then be funneled into a chest. We're still missing some translocators up there to import the items, as we need copper and redstone, so that we don't fill up on one of them. We're obviously going to use the regulate function on the translocators. I already put in 1 stack of copper and 4 stacks of the redstone, so that should grant us 1 stack of the red alloy wire. The problem is, though, that we're running out of copper. We just have 23 left, and the redstone is also getting somewhat low. For that reason, I made a polarizer so that we don't waste so much redstone on our electric motors, and found a lot more copper in here. You can see the chalcopyrite as well as the copper ore. There's a lot that has to be processed right now, so that might take some time, and we might also have to speed this setup up a little bit. The redstone problem, on the other hand, might be a little bit more severe, since I'm not too sure if the waypoint I have right here actually houses more redstone, or if I already mined the entire thing, which I can't really see on the map anyway, so I might have to visit that as soon as I run out, and potentially look for a lot more redstone. We are also almost done with the cobaltite that I wanted to process. We still have to then process the trioxide dust right here, but we can also increase our steel production once this is finally done, as we are very slowly only building up a buffer, since I'm not currently crafting any more machines. However, we will be crafting a lot more machines in just a second, predominantly plate bending machines, probably wire mills, and alloy smelters. Crafted for the bending machines right here, we still need a little bit more steel, which is the reason why I was waiting for the cobaltite to finish, which it finally has as well, so we have 209 steel. Currently also crafting some steel plates and processing the arsenic dust, as well as the cobalt oxide is next in here. I just put a tank up here to get all of the oxygen out of here, and then put it back into the blast furnaces. In the chest we should find some steel plates, 4 stacks of them right here, and 1 steel rod. There should be a few more. Yes, they're probably stuck in the pipe. 31. That is decent, but we're going to need a whole lot more, so I'm just going to take some steel and process it with the file. First time actually making circuits with the new setup, and I don't even remember the recipe of electronic circuits. But that's totally not it. We need steel casing still. Yes, that's not automatic. We also just ran out of sulfur completely, which is the reason why I'm very happy that we could make all of these cables, which also currently isn't automatic. I couldn't get any ender pearls. And the quest only resets every hour, so that might take a little bit of time. While we wait on that though, I can actually craft the last part that we need. And now I would just need to remember the recipe, but I believe it was something similar to this. If I had one more resistor right here, and then all of the cables have to be put in the correct space. And that works. One stack of circuits. We can instantly continue to craft 4 of the combustion generators that we're going to need for each of the basic bending machines. I also crafted a lot more pistons since I need these a lot. And when I need to craft them, they always cost a lot of steel. In order to prevent that, I made, around a stack of them. I actually had more than a stack, since all of these components right here are very difficult to craft, since the steel processing takes a lot of time, and that's the reason why I made a stack of them, as I also need them very frequently for these combustion generators and a lot of the machines I'm using as well. One of those machines is actually the basic bending machine that we have right here. We have one combustion generator facing into one bending machine, and we need to now just hook up the item supply and the way of getting rid of the items. For that, we're just going to have this right like that, and then from below we're going to connect up the pipe to the chest, and that should be a case of doing that. Now the pipe should be connected to the chest, and that is going to be our output. Okay, I don't like the way the chest is facing. Going to fix that in a second. And the input is probably going to be somewhere right either... No. We don't want the output on top. This is actually not going to be the output. That will be the input. Then we're going to have 4 conveyor modules on the side of these chests that will input into the basic bending machines. And then we're going to have 4 of them working at once, and always going to input stacks of 4 into this chest so that all of them can be filled. And the output is actually going to go right around here to chests that will be in this spot, and then just running some wire below here to the chest right here. Even though the machine is almost finished right now, I actually took quite of a detour to get there. So that will be in the next episode. When we finish the machine, it's really just putting in some conveyor modules still, and then everything should be working. For now though, I hope that you enjoyed the episode, and that I'm going to see you next time.